All right, John, how are you feeling after this big game?
I'm not feeling too bad. You don't see a lot of 17-point victories in the playoffs on the road in blizzards very often. But sometimes when a shot is presented to you, you just got to take it.
I see that is mouthwash.
It doesn't taste like it.
All right, let's get right to the game, John. There's so much we gotta talk about, and I'm just gonna let you help me break it down. What I loved about early on in this game is Joe Burrow is dancing around there like he's on ice skates.
What a play. What a throw.
Yeah, and it's like he's using the weather perfectly. He's very delicately running around, and then he's throwing these little lobs, knowing the defenders are slipping around out there. Joe Mixon had, I would say, the best game of the season. I know he had 5 touchdowns in the game, but considering the stakes and considering, you know, I would just say he picked up critical yards when they really needed them. There was another one of those plays by Burrow.
Yeah. Can we talk about that real quick?
Yeah, you want to pause it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I know the whole thing about like the NFL bias and media and everything, but if Patrick Mahomes makes that play against the Bills on the opening drive, snow is falling down, pressure in his face, he's jumping up in the air, and Chase is wide open, but Mahomes makes these plays to wide open receivers all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, Burrow's been doing this since 2019 at LSU, and he doesn't get the credit for being this athletic quarterback who can make plays out of structure. It was a great way to start the game.
It was a good way to start the game. And John, again, we've seen him roast other defenses with, like he did against the Chiefs, let's say last year, or the Ravens, where he's getting back there and he's launching it downfield. He took what was given to him, and he believed in his line in this game, John. He really believed in his offensive line, and they played out of their minds. I don't know if Buffalo's defense just has no pass rush without Von Miller or what, but wow. I mean,
it's the story of the game, is it not? Because like you have to understand, and like this better than anyone, Daddio. Like they couldn't run the ball to end the season, and that was with Alex Kappa, La'el Collins, Jonah Williams in there. They were having real struggles generating movement, displacing guys, and giving Joe Mixon room to run. So now you have 3 new starters in there. Like obviously Carmen played last week, but you have a new configuration starting for an entire game. And, that changes the scheme potentially. You have to figure out which plays and concepts works with the guys that are in there. And they managed to just completely maul a very solid defense. Now, granted, run defense is not the Bills' biggest strong suit, but the fact that they couldn't run the ball for anything to finish the season with a fully healthy offensive line with chemistry there, and then bring in 3 new guys and then find the schemes and find the concepts to make it work and to just completely maul a defensive line for 60 minutes, it's by far the story of the game, man.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm going to say this is the story of the game, too. There's a lot of talk about Josh Allen is this, Josh Allen is that. Josh Allen looked like a young quarterback in the playoffs. He didn't look like a top, 2 QB. They said, last year, I know they didn't win against Kansas City, but they said, oh, they were so close. They didn't have another. They wanted to change the overtime rules because, they were so good. They should have won. And he doesn't look like that type of QB. And Pac-Man Jones, our good friend Pac-Man Jones said, hey, he's... we should pause this, but he said, he doesn't have the arm of. I know he maybe sensationalized it, but he's right. I mean, the guy he's great at making the throws way down the field. Make like every play you're worried it's gonna be a 50-yard touchdown. I get that, but he can't carve you up the way Joe Burrow did.
Well, I mean, Allen had some decent throws in this one. Like they started to push the ball down the field, and because of the receivers and because of Allen's arm, those windows just exist. But like you said, like there is a difference conceptually between the way Allen operates and the way that Burrow operates. And we've seen over the years of Tom Brady, like the way that Burrow operates is more sustainable, it's more predictable, and I think that's kind of what Pac-Man was getting at. But like when you speed up Allen's processing, you get him rattled early, like sometimes those throws down the field aren't always as accurate, and sometimes he can't manufacture those long sustained drives. But Allen played okay despite the fact that he didn't throw a touchdown. I'll give him some props.
He didn't have a fumble that was officially counted. We'll give him that one.
Right.
But look at Carmen on this one, John. I think that's good good blocking. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the footwork is there, and that was another story of the game, right? Because you had Josh Allen evading like multiple sacks because of just how slippery he was on the field. So anyone with good footwork in today on that field he should be kind of praised for that. So, I mean, Carmen didn't have a ton of obvious losses by my count. I know Akeem Adeniji kind of got beat around the edge a little bit, but again, It's the Bills' defensive line without Von Miller. It's not a great like all-around unit. Like Shaq Lawson, AJ Ebenezer, they're decent players, but Cartman had a great opportunity to show out on his 23rd birthday. So happy birthday, man!
Yeah, and I mean, so Burrow, the pump fake there got them. They're not expecting Hayden Hurst. This
was huge, dude, because like we've been seeing them set this play up for the past several weeks. They've been throwing a bunch of wide receiver screens. We're thinking, it's just a way to get the cornerbacks to creep up, and then to set up all that in the film, right? The Bills like know these tendencies at this point, and then it just took a simple pump fake. You got the safety up, you got the cornerback up, and it's a wide open window for Hayden Hurst. That's amazing play calling and just tendency breaking from Zach Taylor in this opening script.
And I don't want to add, John, that it's Hayden Hurst, and we saw Trenton Irvin have a couple of big plays, and he dropped one big play, I think. And this is the mid-season Joe Burrow, the guy who had to survive without Jamar Chase, without D. Higgins, without Tyler Boyd at times, and he found a way to develop chemistry with his other weapons. That's what I loved about those plays, is that they said he completed passes to 8 different receivers, and it was still the middle of the second quarter. That was a fumble. And here we go. Joe Burrow's back. And what happened?
3rd and 10. Where are you going to go other than shredding Irwin?
There it is.
Finding the soft spot in the zone.
Right. I mean, this was a masterclass in sustaining drives. I mean, Joe Burrow, again, you can tell the way he's moving that it's slippery out there, but somehow he didn't let it slow down the offense as much as it slowed down the defense, which was really great.
And I think if you add up all the hits in this game, I think officially Burrow and Allen were sacked the same number of times, just once. But I think Allen was hit a lot more than Burrow. And that's saying something because, again, there were multiple instances where you had DJ Reader, I think you had Joseph Asai pretty close to getting some of these sacks. But, Allen took advantage of the conditions, and he's 6'10", 320 pounds, and he can move like crazy. So he took advantage of that, the fact that defenders were kind of falling all around him. So he avoided some hits, but the Bengals still got more hits on Josh Allen than Joe Burrow was hit by the Buffalo Bills, which is against everything that people thought.
The Bengals' front four was amazing. And Mike Hilton for the second game in a row. Mike Hilton was amazing. I think Von Bell got in there a few times. And but really, I just want to say the defensive line that I think it was before we got Trey Hendrickson, 2 years ago, they said we have 0 pass rush. We signed Hendrickson, they said, okay, they have 1 pass rusher. That was the narrative. And then, I'm looking at BJ Hill, I'm looking at all these guys. DJ Reader's, a pass rusher in my mind. And it was absolute, as everybody's been saying, it was dominance. And I'll say this, John. Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the Bengals being slighted after the Monday Night Football game, I think that gave both lines. These are very big, heavy men who eat a lot of meat. I think that gave both of them the rush they needed. You see what I'm saying? I think it gave them an edge. I think it gave them an advantage.
Oh my God, we're if you're watching the stream, man, like, why does Josh Allen take everything so personally? It's like he's the most fickle, most talented quarterback I think I've ever seen. Like he'll take on contact, right? He'll initiate contact. He'll make his own mistakes, and if a defender like hits him a little bit too hard, he'll just cause his pussy fit, and it irks me. I mean,
for an 8 foot, 350-pound guy, it's kind of odd.
Why is he insecure? He's got it all. He's got height. He's got looks. He's got money. Well, why are you mad all the time, man? Calm down.
I think it's...
Meanwhile, this guy's cool as the other side of the pillow in 35-degree weather.
Hayden Hurst had himself a game. This guy was playing angry. This man is angry. This man is a beast. And he's finally unleashed it in Cincinnati. Obviously, I always love Samaje Perine. Always runs hard. You know what I loved about...
There's more movement, yeah.
You know what I loved about every ball carrier for the Bengals this game? They all had 2 hands on the ball when they knew they were going into a pile. Every single time.
Yeah.
They were coached well about these conditions. They knew every single time. They were always falling forward. They're always, hunching forward, protecting the ball.
It's such a difference compared to like the Bengals defense, who consistently generate fumbles and always pry at the ball. So I feel like practicing against that defense, knowing what they always try to do, it kind of hardens them a little bit. But shout out to 2 players specifically. You mentioned one of them, Trey Hendrickson, who was playing hurt this game. He ended up going to the locker room in the middle of the game, and I think when he got X-rays after the game, it might be something to do with his wrist. It's already broken. Maybe he re-aggravated. Maybe it was something else. But also Ted Karras, who I think in the second quarter injured his knee. He was hurt the entire game. Both those guys really toughed it out and gave the Bengals that edge, because Karras, he kind of lost a couple times in pass pro. Like clearly his knee wasn't 100%, but the fact that he gutted out to finish this game in these conditions is insane.
Yeah, I just don't know what the Bengals are going to do next week if they're gonna. But let's look at this touchdown by Jamar Chase. I mean, this is as much of a touchdown as you can have in that situation.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Let me see if I can get this arrow out of the way here. We can move this. Hold on. No, 1 second. There we go. So, okay. 1 foot, 2 foot. Yes.
Well, he got the feet.
He's got the feet. He's the pass. The ball is still. Well, here he has the ball, but okay, it moves afterwards. But the ball never hits the. They didn't show it. The ball never hits the ground. Mm-hmm. And if you get the feet inbounds and you complete the catch after you hit the ground, that is every single time I've seen it. It's been ruled a catch.
Right.
So there's something odd. And what was odd to me, John, was that Romo and Nance were like, "Oh, maybe it's not a catch. Oh, I don't think it's a catch." And then they bring in their little shill of a ref, and he says, "Oh yeah, it's not a catch." It was like everybody was on the same page, and it was something I'd never seen before. That was very odd to me.
Yeah, I feel like we have seen those plays ended up being catches, or at least not overturned. The fact that they called it a touchdown on the field,
exactly.
and then they overturned it on the field, like obviously every score is like pending review and everything, but it seemed very quick to overturn it. I guess the whole basis of this was the fact that he didn't complete the process to the ground, and he quote unquote lost control of the ball. Now, in the official NFL rule book, the ball moving or bobbling does not automatically mean that he lost control. And the fact that it was in his lap, like he did not catch it, the fact that he didn't have his hands on it for like a millisecond, right? It was just in his lap kind of fumbling around. I don't think he ever lost possession of the ball. And I feel like at that point it should just stand because there was movement and you can make the argument. But the fact that they called it a touchdown on the field, it never hit the ground, and it was just for that 1 second out of bounds. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it just seemed weird.
So 2 things on this play here, John. I think Josh Allen, he kind of, reminded me of Andy Dalton here. Of course, he's better when he moves, but I mean, just stood like a statue in the pocket. In the last second, he runs out. And then the other thing is that Eli Apple cut off that angle perfectly.
Eli Apple did a great job against Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs had 4 receptions for 35 yards. He was seen being very frustrated after the game, but he ended the game, I think, covering him on 4th down and kind of shutting him out. There was another goal line, or there's another end zone target where Allen threw Diggs out of bounds, but he had step-for-step coverage in this game. Both he and Cam Taylor-Britt played great.
Yeah, at the end. But look at Burrow. Look at Burrow using the middle of the field, using his eyes to read what the right play is each time,
Well, this was great too because he gets tackled in 12 seconds, no timeouts, and they're able to get a spike within 10 seconds, which is crazy.
Yeah. The only thing is, I guess he couldn't have gone out of bounds there, but otherwise they might have had another few seconds. But second half here, okay. So the Bills now, they're playing at home. They're down by just 10 points. It's not that much, but you can tell. Like on Pratt on that play, you can tell all of the attitude, all of the kind of punch is on the Bengals side. They had a couple of good plays here and there, but, I still see very low energy from the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills, they don't have that great of an offensive line. And, like, the bigger mismatch in this game was the Bengals' defensive line defending the run compared to the Bills' offensive line and generating movement against the run, right? It was more of a mismatch compared to the Bengals' offensive line and the Bills' defensive line. And the Bills had opportunities here where, they got some momentum. It was a 1-score or just a 10-point game, and they could have leaned on the run game, but it never really worked out that way. And obviously the Bills want to put the ball in Josh Allen's hands and make plays down the field. But, despite other than giving up a handful of plays, the Bengals defense did a great job of bending and not breaking in the second half, which is pretty much tradition at this point.
They were so locked in. The entire roster was locked in for this game. I mean, I know that maybe
Dax Hill right there, great play.
Yeah, Dax Hill. Like you said, Taylor-Britt came through in the end. He didn't have a greatest start, but he came through. So the only 2 people I would say, the rookies maybe weren't great from the start, but they picked it up. Trenton Irwin had 1 drop. Other than that, I don't remember any bad plays from our players.
It wasn't just the interception either for Taylor-Britt. He had that a great pass breakup on Gabe Davis. Like he didn't find the ball because he kind of lost a step on that at that point. So he did the next best thing, which is read where the receiver's hands are, and like immediately as his hands are going up to catch the ball, put your hand up to get in the way, and that's what he did.
Yeah, it was But one thing I'll say, John, is that I didn't like. Well, I'll say this: that the Bengals kept passing. Even with the big lead, they kept passing. They stayed aggressive, knowing that Buffalo can score.
Exactly.
Score
they knew the situation.
Yeah.
And they had the run game to lean on anyways. So
yeah, they really used the run game effectively. They used it very strategically. It wasn't just like, oh, let's just hold on to this lead. Here we go. Here's Hurst. Like someone said, Hayden Hurdles.
Hayden Hurdles.
Yeah, it's a ceiling cat.
Well, when he's jumping in the air like that, his hair really flows. So I feel like he just does it to get like a great camera shot.
So happy for that guy. So happy that guy found a home. And
some more good blocking.
Yeah, Mixon, and Mixon. These guys, I don't know. I'm saying they had something. They ate something. I don't know what is something. The buffalo food. They had their muscles were a little bigger today. The Bengals, offensive players.
It's a lot of wings, a lot of chicken. So maybe they got a little pep in their step,
I mean,
maybe they took some shots of buffalo sauce. Who knows?
We were just talking on the show, John, for the preview of this game. We were questioning if Mixon is really the answer, or if Piran should get more touches, and I said I think it's more the offensive line. It was a little debate we had, but I mean, Mixon, this is the type of game where you're like, oh yeah, he's a top 5, maybe top 10, but probably, I would say maybe higher back in terms of talent, and he showed that today.
Were you surprised that this was called touchdown? I was a little surprised because we never saw the ball.
Watch. Well, look where he is right there.
Well, I understand that. I understand conceptually why they overturned it, right? Logistically, his whole body is across the end zone.
This is Mixon. Right?
Yeah, I see that.
Look, he's all the way over.
Okay, but we never see the ball, and it wasn't called a touchdown on the field.
But
so you understand where I'm coming from, right?
Unless he's holding the ball behind him.
I know it's impossible, but they don't look at it through that lens. They just look at what they see.
I see. I mean, it was convincing. I was 100% sure it was a touchdown.
Well, we were, but we're not refs, so.
Yeah, the refs are not very smart. Wow. Okay.
But I mean, hell, that makes it 24-10 instead of a 10-point game. You're putting more pressure on the Bills to put up touchdowns here.
Yeah.
And this play right there,
that was the one. That was
Taylor Britt loses a step on Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis is this playoff superstar. He always has his best moments in the playoffs. It's a good throw from Allen and a great recovery from Taylor Britt.
Yeah.
This play here won my parlay. Well, no, another play ended up winning my parlay, but that helped.
It's saying, I guess, oh, wow. I guess the stream was suspended. I guess the refs have gotten.
Are we talking to ourselves?
I guess we are. Yeah, I guess the refs have gotten into our chat. All right, well, John, I will say this. Next week is going to be interesting. When we see, I don't know if it's going to be Mahomes or if it's going to be Chad Henne or what. This was an interesting play too, by the way, John.
Mahomes will play, by the way.
Yeah, I think he'll play, yeah. But John, here's an interesting one. Is that you have two Bills defenders. Okay, one guy is holding T. Higgins, and then the other guy, this guy, is trying to hit him so hard that he drops the ball, right? And he gets called for the hold, and then the guy trying to go low on him, he ends up injuring himself and the other guy. I thought that was just like a nice microcosm of the helplessness of the Bills in this game.
Yeah, because I mean the Bills cornerback got beat, so George Warrior's trying to get over the top to help him out, and he does the instinctual thing, kind of lowers his head a little bit, and that's kind of what happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not really much else happened in the game, John. I guess we can just kind of end this.
This was the final score. The Bills couldn't muster a comeback despite plays like this. Bengals defense once again.
Yeah.
Steps up.
Well, I do want to see that Taylor Britt interception because it was just gorgeous.
Yeah, let's fast forward then.
Yeah. So let's see. This guy, he was trying to be Burrow there. You see, Josh Allen was trying to be Burrow. I don't know how to fast forward without messing it up. Let's see. We have 2 minutes left. Okay. Yeah. Let's just.
I think you just scrub it. Yeah.
This is it, right?
Nope. A little bit later in the game.
Oh,
Bengals getting the ball back after this play. Great coverage over Eli Apple. Great coverage.
Yeah. This guy, I mean, he's either a superstar, or he's not. Actually, I love these runs. By the way, I think this was a mix-in.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was a very powerful run.
No, that's Pirine in there.
That's Pirine. Yeah, Mixon had one right before this that was really great, I think.
Yeah.
Or right after it. Yeah.
You can see, I think Volson's there just pushing him, which is cool.
This offensive line, considering how many people have been replaced, is really playing cohesively. It's very impressive.
Again, it's just shocking to me because it wasn't necessarily only just the pass protection. It was like the communication and being in sync on some of these run plays, and that just wasn't an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, This was a crazy game, John. I think it's the first time the Bengals ever won by more than one score in the playoffs.
And they did it at a place where the home team is 13-1 all time.
13-1, and I think the Bills had never lost by more than 3 points this whole year. So they've never been dominated, and they get dominated at home. Everything's in their favor. Here it is. I think this is the Cam Taylor-Britt one.
Yeah, this one.
So this was a touchdown. I mean, that was about to be a touchdown, and he just, beautiful. I hope that does a lot for his confidence, because that kid, he's been great in the tackling department. I hope
he's a great kid. He's a great human being.
They get to do the Snow Angels. Well, John, okay, so I think we gotta stop the stream here, and I think the authorities are at my door for the NFL copyrights, but we're gonna do our preview tomorrow, I believe. So we're gonna preview the Chiefs game tomorrow.
Well, if the authorities are there to apprehend you, we have plenty of bail money thanks to our lovely patrons. If you would like to support the show,
John is in a really good mood. Yeah, we have patreon.com/DHSports. You can support the show. Yeah, wow, that was impressive, John. Yes, support the show, and remember to check us out tomorrow. We'll be live 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So long, sweetie. Pies.